Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Ask Your Director. My name is Emily Turner. I'm a STAR director, and I will be hosting this tonight with our fantastic panel to answer some of your questions that you've put out to us in the Line Facebook group. So what we're going to start first with just some introductions on the directors that we have participating. So why don't we start with Stephanie Neal.
Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Neal. I'm on Facebook, but I'm also Stephanie Best with Tupperware with My Sales. It confuses everybody. I sent an email to get it switched, but I don't think they've seen it. I'm a STAR director as well.
Thank you, Stephanie. And we also have Cindy.
Hi guys, my name is Cindy Phillips. I live in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I'm a 2-star director with East Coast Tuppers. I'm glad that you've all joined us, and hopefully we can answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Cindy. And we have Heather Drysdale.
Hi, I'm Heather Drysdale. I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I'm a 2-star director, and I've been with Tupperware for a little bit over 7 years now.
Fantastic. And we have Heather Atkinson. We have a lot of double names, two Heathers tonight.
Hi guys, so I'm Heather Atkinson. I'm a new director last month on Emily's team, and I live in New Brunswick, but barely. I can throw a stone to Nova Scotia, so pretty close.
If only we could cross the border.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love COVID. And we also have Stephanie, I may brutalize your last name, Wagorn, is that how you say it? Correct.
Yeah, it's Wagorn. So my name is Stephanie Wagorn, and I'm from Clarence Creek in Ontario. And I just became a director last month, and I started in February.
That's fantastic. Wow. Really, really amazing accomplishments. And last but not least, we have Tasha Lahulier. Am I saying your last name right? So hard when you don't talk to people a lot.
That's okay. You didn't butcher it. It's all good. My name is Tasha, and I stepped up last month to 3-star director. So I went from director to 3-star in 1 month. So a heck of a feat, but we did it. And I am from Vars, Ontario. So near Stephanie Waghorn, we're not too far away. So like 15 minutes maybe.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's quite the jump from director to 3-star. May was just fantastic for everybody. So let's move right into the questions, because I know everybody here wants to, well, we're here to ask a director and we're here to answer your questions for you. So the first question people want to know is, why did you join Tupperware and what made you stay? So Tasha, you're on the screen if you'd like to go first.
Sure, I can go. I honestly, so I was recruited. A friend of mine was having a party. I was in the party, and Chantal Scott was actually doing the party. And she asked me if I wanted to join, and I said no. I had done other MLM companies, and I'm like, it's not for me. I can't sell anything to anybody. It's just not going to happen. And I wanted the sorbet maker and a couple of other things, and my total was going to be about $150 some. And she's like, well, you know, it's the Say Yes offers this month. You could get it for free. And I'm like, no, I'm not selling. I'm not doing it. And she kept talking to me about it. And I was like, nope, 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 not interested. And then she came back. It was about a day or so later. And she's like, okay, I'm getting ready to place the order. But she's like, just so you know, I broke down the math for you. You would get all of the items that you want, plus you would get the kit, plus you would get the Say Yes, and it would actually cost you like $16 less. Or she's like, I can charge you the $154, and all you're gonna get is the sorbet maker. I'm an accountant by trade, so when I looked at the math, I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna get all this and that, and it's gonna be cheaper. So it was kind of one of those, you know, was stupid if I didn't do it. So I decided to join. I didn't really sell. I just was a personal shopper like most of us are for the first, I would say, 7-8 months. I had a couple of recruits, but nothing big. I bounced back and forth from manager to star manager because I couldn't keep those 6 active. It was like pulling teeth. Every month someone was falling off, and then, having to recruit again. And then last January, Chantal and I had a really good conversation, and she's like, I really think you have director material. And I'm like, well, it's either I'm going to move up or I'm going to let it go. So we had a really good chat, and I decided that I would give her she wanted 4 months. She's like, give me 4 months. Give me 4 months, work your butt off for 4 months. And if we're not there, you can let it go, and, we can say we did it. So we worked our butts off for 4 months, and then I stepped up to the director, and I worked with my team for the last year, kind of getting them ready. Again, I didn't think I would have 3 promote in 1 month. I knew 1 for sure. We were on the fence about the second one. And then all of a sudden it was like 3 all in 1 month. But honestly, I joined because of the kit, because of what I wanted. My 2 girls play competitive hockey, and I don't know if anyone else knows, but hockey is really expensive. And I was making enough money to help cover the hockey fees, didn't have to go on a credit card. So that was a bonus because I could pay for it cash. And then I had 1 that needed braces, which was the incentive to step up to director, because I'm like, I got to pay for that somehow. And I know some people saw it, some people didn't, but I did share my paycheck last month with my team, and I made over $10,000 last month. So anybody can do this. Honestly, if you put your head into it, your heart into it. I do it because I love it now. I love my team. It's not about the money. It never was with me. Yes, it's a bonus. I'm able to pay off some debts and whatever, but it was never about that. We have a good little family, and that's what's kept me in doing it. That's what's kept me going.
That's really fantastic. What a story. What a story. Who would like to speak next? Again, the question is, why did you join Tupperware, and what made you stay?
I can go. So I joined last year in November. I was a guest in a friend's party and then booked a party myself. And then after my party, a few weeks after, my recruiter, Heather Lang, she posted, she was trying to step up the manager. So she posted, she's offering $20 off the kit or whatever. And when I looked at it, there was a couple things in the kit that I wanted for the kids for Christmas. So I thought, well, it's actually cheaper to, get the kit with her than it was to buy the items. So I bought the kit with really no intention of selling. And then she suggested that I run the 2 parties that were booked off my party. And that happened before Christmas. Both those parties were before Christmas. And that's really all the sales I had before Christmas. And then January came, and it was like, well, I can probably get a few steps of confident start in. And by the end of January, I had all 7 steps. Epic Cookware, was manager by that point. And then the next month, I think I stepped up twice and was executive manager. And I have like 75 people on my team now. And there's only probably about 8 or so that are selling, but there's more interest all the time. So it's going really well. So yeah, it's really just been about, talking to people, because you can't talk to anybody right now. You can't see anybody. So, I do a lot of Zooms with my team, and we spend a lot of time talking and trying to improve things. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where this is going to end up.
And you bought a new fridge with your Tupperware earnings too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I have a new fridge on order, and I have we have to put a fence up in our backyard for the dog. So
that's awesome.
More expensive than the fridge.
So glad you joined.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
I can go next. I joined Tupperware in August 2015, and the person that I was buying Tupperware from asked me to join. I said no. I had a very, very busy lifestyle. I worked full-time as a manager of 25 people, so my life was quite busy. We had bought a camper to put out at the lake, and we were going to spend the summers out at the camper. And I wasn't putting anything in the camper that was not Tupperware, just due to heat and humidity and bugs and rodents or anything else. So and we put the trailer there. We leave it there year round, but we stock everything in May, and then we empty everything out like the end of September. So food and everything stays right out there. So I started to purchase items from her, and she said, well, why don't you join and get a discount? And I said, well, no, all I could think about was me standing in front of people doing a party, and it actually almost made me sick to my stomach. And then she said, well, you can get a discount. She said, you can, get 25% off, and then you get your samples. And I said, well, all right, I'll do that. So that was August of 2015. July of 2016, nobody knew I joined Tupperware. I was just buying samples and stuff for our camper and a few things for home. I went into work one day with my lunch, and I went into my friend's department and had lunch with her. And she said, where did you get those things with your lunch in it? And I said, oh, well, from Tupperware. She said, well, who sells Tupperware? And I said, well, I can get them for you. I said, I don't sell it because I said, I just don't have time. But I said, I can put them on my next order for you. And of course, she stood up and told everybody I sold Tupperware and blah, blah. So anyways, by the time I left her department, I had 20 orders for these lunch sets that were out. So I went home that night, and I said to my husband, well, maybe I'll just set up a Facebook page, with Tupperware deals and sales and that kind of thing. And, see if there's any interest in it. It could be a little bit of a side thing. I said it won't be too busy. And anyways, needless to say, a year to the day later, I was stepped up to director. So it was a whirlwind. October of 2018, I retired from my job 5 years earlier than I expected to do Tupperware full time. I couldn't do both. I love Tupperware. I love my team, the friendships that we have made, the commitment that I put into Tupperware outweighed my commitment for work, which really wasn't fair to my workplace, but Tupperware was fun. The work wasn't fun. So I retired in October 2018. I took the chance and I did it, and I have no regrets. That was in 2018, and worked very, very hard. It's you don't just sit back and do nothing. You get out of it what you put into it. My favorite part of all of this is watching my team grow. So watching somebody who's joined step up to manager, step up to star manager, step up to executive manager. And in the month of May, I had 2 directors step up. So I'm now a 2-star director. And that is what makes me happy, to see other people get what I get out of this. So needless to say, I've never regretted retiring. It's a year and a half now. And to watch these people grow personally and emotionally in Tupperware is a huge feeling of gratitude for me. I don't do it for me, I do it for others. And when others grow in the business, of course, it's going to help you, but to see the progress and, to see people come out of their comfort zone and do things that they normally would never do. And people who really struggle with, even doing a demo or talking to somebody, to watch them stand up and do a demo with somebody, in front of a group of people, just totally blows my mind how much more confidence that they have gained. I know personally I've gained a lot more confidence in myself. I never was a low confident person anyways, but I really had, to watch these people grow in their confidence just totally blows me away. So yeah, and we work well as a team, but my biggest thing is the friendship gained from people that I've never knew existed, in my life.
That's amazing, Cindy, and how inspiring, and how amazing you got to retire early. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? That's
Oh,
amazing.
I have more time for my grandchildren. I don't have any children living at home, but I have more time for my grandchildren. They can get off the bus here, after school or on Wednesday afternoons and spend time with me, where before, I mean, I work full time, and I work full time for Tupperware. I never even had enough time for myself. So yeah, it's absolutely changed my life.
Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. All right. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next. I didn't want to go right after the other Heather so as not to confuse people. So the reason I joined, I signed up under my cousin, who's Lindsay Markland. And she was in the city for a trade show, and I asked if she wanted to go out for supper. And she said, well, actually, I'm going to a team cooking party. And I knew that she was in the city for Tupperware. So I figured that it was probably a Tupperware related cooking party, but it had food involved. And I'm like, sure, I'm in. She asked me to come with her, and I said, sure. So that actually happened to be at Cora's house, because I live in Saskatoon, which is Coratown. And so the Fridge Smarts, the older style of Fridge Smarts, was on sale that week, and I wanted them, and Lindsay let me know that I could get an extra discount. And I was doing a recipe at the time. It was a mushroom and wild rice soup, and I should probably post that in one of our recipe groups. But, well, probably the chopping and whipping systems one, because when I first joined, the precursor to the Power Chef was in the kit, which was the Quick Chef. And I had just the chop and prep, and so you could only do a half an onion in there. And my recipe called for a whole onion and a whole red pepper and a whole green pepper. So with the Quick Chef in the kit, it would have taken me like 6 times less time to actually chop up all my ingredients. So that was why I joined, was because of what was in the kit. And the other stuff that was in the kit was basically a bonus. I don't remember. I think the kit was $110 at the time when I joined, and the Quick Chef on its own was $83. So with taxes and shipping, it was probably only about maybe $5 more. Plus I got all the extra stuff. So that was why I joined. And that was before we were top of the line as a whole company. We were part of another, what's now called a company at the time, right now. But so I started going to the monthly events, and I really liked to, I wasn't doing a lot of selling. I was just purchasing for myself. I probably didn't do my first party until about maybe 6 months later. And then I did another one 6 months after that. But I was doing, I was just purchasing at a discount, because that was why I joined, is I wanted the discount and I wanted the stuff that was in the kit. But the reason that I stayed is because of the people. The people that I met at the events, the team members that I've gained, and my team has really only started growing probably in the last 3 years, and I've been with Tupperware for over 7. I'd stepped up and down to manager twice before I stepped up and up to manager, star manager. I never actually hit executive manager. I went from star to executive because of my personal team members, and then team sales. But the reason I've stayed is the people. The people that I've met who are consultants, the ones who are on my team, who just watching them grow. And there's some that are, I think some people call them unicorns, that for some reason, they just glitter, they skyrocket. And if you don't count May, they aren't very common. We had a lot of people skyrocket in May, which was absolutely incredible. But there are a few of those other people, and you've got those really strong team members, and you love to see that. But then you also love to see the people who are on your team who have the doubts, that have good months and then bad months, and they kind of get down in the dumps, but then you encourage them and you share tips with them, and then all of a sudden they have a good month, and then they have another good month, and they get so excited about their business, and they just spread that excitement. And I think that's my favorite part, is seeing how Tupperware can change people's lives in small ways and in big ways. And like Tasha, it's never been about the money for me. that when I've never actually done that dream board thing, but the stuff that I want to achieve is not stuff that money or Tupperware can accomplish in the traditional sense with the step ups and the money and stuff like that. But it transitioned from being about me when I first joined to being about everybody else. And I love that our top of the line team, that our whole company is hashtag TOTL Better Together, that we are basically a great big giant 15,000 person family. Yeah, I mean, there's all those little squabbles and everything in between, but the encouragement and the support and the information and the sharing and these Zooms, these things are so important and a really great way to connect with people, whether it's COVID or whether it's you just need other people to connect to other than the people that you see in your regular life. And you develop other friendships because of the people that you meet through Tupperware. So that's why I stayed, is the people.
That was beautiful. Like, that was really, I almost teared up a bit there because that was really lovely. Thank you. Okay. Stephanie, I think you're.
I'll go next. I gotta follow Heather. I joined Tupperware in July 2017, but prior to that, I was part of another direct sales company for about 8 years, about 7 or 8 years, and they actually had to close their doors because of the economy. So I took about a 1.5 year break, and I was, believe it or not, bored. I had a newborn. No, I had a 1-year-old or two. No, I had a 2-year-old. Plus, I had a newborn, and I would call myself bored. But I missed the direct selling. I missed being part of a team and a company. So for me, and I had one Fridge Smart. So I bought one Fridge Smart back in 2008, 10. And I didn't see anybody in Newfoundland selling Tupperware until 2017. So when I seen someone, Henrietta, who's actually my upline, she posted on Facebook that she was selling Tupperware. So I messaged her and I was like, send me all of the Fridge Smarts, because I have one and it was the old style one that I had, and I needed more. So I placed an order with her, and when she messaged me a couple of weeks later to say that the order was in, I said, send me some information on signing up. I said, you don't need to sell it to me. I've been in direct sales. I know that if you're in direct sales, you know the questions that you want to ask. So she sent me the information. I asked the questions that I needed, and I said, she was a friend of mine too. So I ended up going over to pick up my order. And basically when I left that night, I knew I was signing up, because I just loved everything about what Tupperware. I wanted everything in the catalog. I wanted everything in the kit. And I went over, and she just kind of explained a few things to me to show me the consultant site. And one thing that I absolutely love is our party pool, because it's not, and I've done other direct sales companies, and there's nothing like that in any other companies that I've seen. So that's why I joined. In 2017, like I said, I had a newborn, I had a toddler. I just pretty much dabbled with Tupperware. I created a group, I did a party here and there, but there was months that I never even put in a sale. It was just something. I was also doing university courses for work, and I had a full-time job. So I just kind of picked away at it. And then in 2018, the same thing. I just kind of, I think there were some months I didn't even post a sale flyer. It was just depended on my mood. And then in January 2019, everything started turning around for me. In 1 week, I think that's when all I think it was Melissa who started the copy and paste parties, if I'm not mistaken. I did like a Boxing Day party, and I signed up 3 or 4 recruits in the first week of January, and I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, like for the last 1.5 years, and even in my other sales company that I sold, I could never get a recruit. And here I am the first week of January with 3 or 4. So I was like, my goal by the end of 2019 is to become a manager. I kept my goal pretty. I didn't want anything big, just manager by the end of 2019. And I hit manager in February, and then star manager, executive manager. I went through the 3 levels, and then I think I was director in October. I don't even remember. I think it was October I stepped up to director. So for me, it was quite the accomplishment. what makes me stay every day is the people. Like everybody else has said, I love my team. I love watching them grow. From anything from someone who's really nervous on doing a live, and then they finally go live, and just watching them and breaking the ice. I love watching the people step up to manager. May month was a big month. We had managers coming up, and star managers and executive managers, and they're so excited, and I love sharing their accomplishments. I've also had 2 directors under me step up as well in the last couple of months. I just love watching people grow and hitting their, even if it's just to get the party bonus for the week or the little challenge that Tupperware offers, and they're excited to get the parfait glasses. It's just so much, it's so exciting to see them be excited.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I remember when I first joined up how excited I was. So I know that it's exciting for them. Like the parfait, getting the little rewards for free. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Thank you for sharing. All right, Stephanie?
So I joined up in February, and the only reason I joined up was because at that time the MPG was a sign-up bonus for $20. And my upline, who's also named as Steph, it's a theme, told me that she would give it to me for free if I signed up because she needed the recruits. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I had no intention of selling. I was literally just doing it for a friend. And I thought, okay, whatever, I'll try and have a party. And with that, it kind of just took off. I had 3 bookings from that party and then 1 recruit. And then a few months later, stepped up to director. And I'm sorry, I have nothing inspirational like the rest of the ladies. This is just all I have. I'm sorry.
But that is inspirational because it shows that this can work. Like you were brand new and you took the tools that you were given in a very short period of time, and look how successful you've been in a short period of time. So, you know, it just goes to show that Tupperware will be what you make of it. If you treat it like a job, which you obviously did, because it's not easy to step up to director, especially with as fast as you did it. So that's pretty fantastic. And look at all the relationships. Like, I already love you, and I've only talked to you a few times, like on the chat, and I'm like, see, there's another relationship, right? It's fantastic. So I love it. So you shared more than I think you thought you would. That's great. Thank you. So I'm going to share my own. So I joined, it was 2 years ago on June 1st, actually. I joined on my 40th birthday. Don't tell anybody I said that. I know I just said that in a recording. So anyway, oh well. So I joined on my birthday, and I joined under Wendy. And the story that I love to tell people is no one ever asked me, ever. I was on, you know, we all have that list. That's the, oh my God, it's our chicken list. You know, we call it the chicken list, that no, you won't dare ask them because they're either going to bite your head off or they're going to laugh you out of the room, or for whatever reason, they're just not someone that you think is approachable. So I was on, I'm friends with Sylvia and Jennifer, like directors, people that have been around, you know, for 2 and 3 years before I even came on the scene, and nobody ever to join. So let that be a lesson to ask everybody. So I actually went looking because I have a very particular family situation. I have 4 children. My youngest is has exceptional needs. She's in a wheelchair. She's nonverbal. Will require 100% full-time care. So I was unable, because I actually work in the mental health in the mental health industry, and I've been there for 20 years, but I was not able to return to work full-time because of my family situation. So I was looking for a direct sales venue that I could do from home to supplement my income. So most people are joining, you know, and get started by accident. I actually did join to make money. I joined to supplement the income that I could not make outside of the home. I wanted to do it to set my own hours, to be flexible between hospital visits, and I could take my phone and my business anywhere I go. If I'm in a waiting room for 3 hours waiting for an appointment, I can be working. So it made sense to me. So I looked into all the other direct sales, you know, I won't name them all, but everybody knows what they are. And Tupperware really had the best commission, the best incentives, the best sign up, and really the best products, because who wants to sell something that they don't actually believe in themselves? I wanted to sell a quality item that I wouldn't, because I'm not a seller by nature. I'm a talker, but I don't want to sell you anything. It's just not really my style. But I'm okay with showing people what's available, and then you can make up your own mind. I'm just really excited over here over my Power Chef. If you want one, I'll tell you how to get one. That's how I approach my business. So 2 years ago, I basically held my hands up and went, who wants me? And Wendy was the first to say, oh, I'm signing her up. So that began the journey. So I'm a planner. So I planned it, and I, you know, did my parties and I did my thing. I never wanted to move ahead too fast. So I wanted to make sure if I was promoting to manager, I was going to get paid and I was going to maintain that. So fast forward, I ended up stepping up to, not ended up, I developed a fantastic team, and Heather Atkinson is on that and was a huge component of me moving through. The team that I built was just blow your socks off. So I promoted to director in January, and I just promoted to star director in May, because, you know, everybody promoted in May. So I promoted in May, and I love it. And the reason why I signed up still holds true. It is absolutely supplementing my income. Actually, I got paid so much in May that now my other job is supplementing my Tupperware income. So, you know, sometimes the tables turn. I've earned Disney, I've earned the car, you know, it's been life-changing. The things that I was not able to provide for my children, now I can. And that's because of Tupperware. And I will stay because of those opportunities for my family. But I gotta say, like, you know, I'm here tonight with all of you because of the relationships. Like, this is adding components in the sense that, you know, we're all sharing and it's important, and it's growing relationships. But, you know, this isn't giving me a paycheck tonight, but it's very satisfying for my emotional well-being. It makes me feel part of the family, and that is really important. I feel really appreciated with Tupperware, and I know that I appreciate all of you with Tupperware. So it's you know, I would miss it. I don't think I could ever let it go at this point. It's just too fantastic. So that's my spiel. So everybody has shared the first question, so let's move on. Okay, so the next question, and this is a little more into getting into basics, like how we're functioning as a team. So I am having trouble booking parties. What are some ways to find new hosts? How do you ask? What do you say? So I will open the floor to whoever would like to speak first.
I'm going to go first. This is Heather Drysdale, one of the Heathers, because this is actually a challenge that I've come across a number of times. Because I've been in Tupperware for so long, I've asked a lot of my personal friends, my family members, often over the last 7 years. So I have kind of run into that as well. But there always tends to be new people who come into your life. So Emily, you mentioned that you were on people's chicken list. So I also have people on my chicken list. So those are the people that I have started to ask. It scares me because I think they're just going to say no, or they're going to be upset that I ask. But you're offering them. I think the important thing is to not ask them because you want a party. I mean, you do want a party, but you also want your host to get the host benefits, that they can get free and half price items, that they can interact with their friends when they can't do it in person, they can do it at a party, that they can comment. I don't do lives in my parties because lives scare me. So that's something else that I'm working on. But it's just messaging those people and just saying, like, hey, I know that such and such an item is on your wish list, and I'd love to get that for you for free. Would you be interested in hosting a party this week? We've got some great sales that are ending, and I wouldn't want you to miss out on this opportunity. Or we've got a great extra host bonus next week with the insulated tumbler and the cold brew carafe. And so that would be another way to do it. It's like, hey, I know that you're interested in the cold brew carafe, that you mentioned that when it was on sale last month, or I think it was in April. And I know that you missed out on ordering that. Would you be interested in getting it for a discount price? Because I'd love to help you to earn that. So I think it's showing your potential host the benefits, and also connecting with those people that you have relationships with already, that you know that those are their wish list items. And it's those connections that, whether it's a past customer, a past host, a family member, someone who has that you've connected with Tupperware before, those are the easy ways to do it. And you feel like you've asked them before, but you're asking a different question this time because there's a different opportunity. So don't hesitate to ask again. And if they say, you know what, I've already got all the Tupperware that I need, or, oh, no, that's okay, I'm not interested right now, maybe later. If they say maybe later, put it in your calendar for next month and ask again. Because you never know when somebody's no, not right now is going to turn into a yes. So that would be my tip about finding hosts.
Well, maybe we'll finish the part two of Heather Squared, and I can go next. So for me, I guess maybe it's just because I'm still fairly new, but I haven't really exhausted my friends list yet. I typically don't close a party until I've asked every single person and have at least one booking out of that party. I've also used a lot of the things. There's a lot of stuff on top of the line. Like recently there was one, there was just a stack of Tupperware boxes. It was a picture of a stack of Tupperware boxes. Post that, and I don't know what the little caption was, but of the people that commented, I think I had like 5 or 6 comments, and I got 2 parties from those 5 or 6 people that I responded to and asked them if they wanted to host a party. So there's a lot of those tips that are on top of the line. I've used those. Right now, this week I only have 1 party. Next week I have 7 parties, just from asking. And telling everybody there's a new flyer coming out. Do you want to host a party when the new flyer comes out? I have 3 parties next Tuesday night. I don't really know how that's going to go, but I have 7 parties next week, so it's doable.
Okay, I will say, so I've been doing this for a while, unlike Heather, who is new. Like Heather Drysdale said, when you've been doing it for a while, it does get harder to find people because you've already gone through your list. One of the biggest things I learned, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably only learned this in the last 6 months. So even as directors, star directors, whatever you're at, you're always learning something. And one of the biggest things I'm gonna say that I learned is to not take it personally. When someone says no, it's not no to you. And a lot of the times, let's be honest, it's not no, never, it's no, not right now. So that's, once you make that switch, now I ask anybody and everybody, because you know what, if they say no, it's okay, I just move on to the next one, because it doesn't matter. When they're ready, they will come back and find me, or I'll remember to message them in a couple of months or whatever, because it's not too often you get the no, I'm absolutely not interested, don't ask me again. It's not too often. For most people, it's the timing that's not right, or wherever they're at in their life, they feel like they're not able to commit 100%. And most of the people that I would think that would do really well end up not doing so well. And then the people that I kind of like, oh, I wasn't sure I was going to ask her, and then I did ask her, are the superstars. I'm going to say the ones that kind of blow you away, because I never thought of them that way. But honestly, not taking it personally, you're going to ask 100 people and you might get 100 no's. Move on to the next 100. Because every time you take it personally, it closes off another little piece of you that doesn't want to ask the next time. So honestly, people say no, just let it roll off of your back, because it's not that they don't like you. And I know that's really hard. Trust me, from someone who is a people pleaser, that is really hard to do. But honestly, since I've decided to just let it go and leave it alone, I ask anybody and everybody. And the recruits that I got last month and this month are people that are not, they weren't even on my chicken list. They were just on my, they would never do this, so why bother? And then Chantal had a challenge for us, and I'm like, I really need to recruit this month, a personal one. My team is doing really well with recruiting. So I asked someone that I had already discounted, like, oh, she'd never do this, right? She doesn't do direct sales. She's a big supporter, but she's just never done it. And I asked her, and like within 2 seconds, she's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And I'm like, you'll do what? And she's like, oh, I'll do the kit. I'm like, what kit? Like the $20 one, you know? And she's like, no, like the kit. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just send me all your info. Because it was just one of those things. I never would have thought of her that way. And there's no reason, like she wasn't on the chicken list. She was just, I never would have thought of asking. So it's one of those things, honestly, the minute you just let it go and don't let it become about you, because like I said, they're not saying no to you. They're not saying no to Tupperware. They're not saying to go to hell. They're not saying anything like that. They're literally just saying maybe now is not the right time, or maybe now I'm not ready, or maybe now I'm not committed. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Move them to the next month, and when you go over again, go through your people, and when you've run out of people, go back to those people. Just like consultants who joined a year or two ago and they've fallen off. I realize for the newbies that's harder because you haven't had people fall off yet. But for us old folk who have been here a while, I would say in the last month or so, I've touched base more with people who used to sell. And I started with a list of people who have put in an order before but are now inactive or are now fallen off. I started with that list. And then slowly and surely, I'll go back to the ones that have never put in an order. Because they joined for a reason and they never put an order in. Why didn't they? Was it the person that recruited them? Was it because they didn't get any training? Whatever the case may be. But all of those are relationships you're going to build in your longevity of being in the business. But honestly, just ask anybody and everybody, because you never know who your next director is going to be. You never know who your next superstar is going to be. You have no idea. And if you're skipping past those people, like Emily said, someone else is going to ask them. And I've had it happen where I see someone join the team and I'm like, shit, I know that person too, but I didn't ask them. Someone else did. So yeah, sorry about my potty mouth. Recording or not, I can't change it. That's just me. But yeah, honestly, if you don't ask them, someone else will. So ask and just keep on asking.
Okay, well, I can go next. Again, and I will reiterate that, ask everybody and don't take no to heart. Many people have different reasons as to why they don't want to do it. I find people will do Facebook parties faster than they do a home party. I don't know what the idea of that is, but if you don't have a party coming up this week, do a mystery host party for on your Tupperware page. Like, always have party going. Mystery host parties are great because people like the idea that, they may win the credits for it. Always too, don't forget your party pool. I will post on my Tupperware page. I have some orders to put in, but I don't have a party going on. I don't have a host who wants to do a quick Facebook party, and my orders will go onto your party and use your party pool of $100. That really entices some people too, because they'll think, oh, well, I already got to start to some orders, so this will be great. Party pools are a great tool to use to book parties. You don't have to tell them it's party pool. You can just say that you've got $100 worth of orders that you have started, but you don't have a party going on or a host. You'd like to see somebody be able to benefit from host credits. And then you just set up a quick Facebook party and they invite their friends. But I'll give you one little tip though, and I don't know if you guys do it or not. Probably you do. Every Facebook party that you do, always on it, post. If you'd like to keep up to date with the new brochures, the new catalogs, the weekly sales, the 3-week sales, click this link, and that's the link to your VIP or your Tupperware page. and join my Tupperware page so that you'll be able to see all of the sales and new brochures that come into play. That is very important. That is how I grew my Tupperware page, was that because if you have 10 people or 12 people on your Facebook party, at least 4 or 5 of them are going to join. Okay, so that's another way of doing that. But if I don't have a party, I'll do a mystery host party.
Follow up with, so basically one thing that I have to say about looking for parties, if you have a goal that you're trying to hit, and it could be anything, like when you're sending your private messages, let people know what your goal is. So for example, I don't know if anyone knows my story with Hemingway. Last March, I got a message from Cora on Sunday saying that you're so close to earning Hemingway, and Hemingway was a trip for managers and above, and you needed a certain amount of sales and certain amount of sales from new recruits. And it was a trip I knew about, but I didn't really go for, just because I didn't think it was possible. But I woke up on a Sunday and she had sent a message saying you're so close to Hemingway. So for curiosity's sake, I just went in and looked at how much sales I needed, and I only needed $3,600 of sales by Friday. And to a lot of people, that's a lot of sales. And it is a lot of sales for one person in 1 week. And I wrote her back in potty mouth and was like, you're correct. I don't think I'm getting that. Now I'm in Newfoundland. She's in Saskatchewan. So there was a time difference. So I gave it some thought and broke it down and was like, okay, this is really not that bad of sales. I just need the parties for it. I needed about 7 or 8 parties. It's not unfeasible. Heather Atkinson just said she's got 7 parties this week or next week. So I broke down to parties, and then I started sending messages, and I sent messages to everybody, people on my chicken list, people, anyone that I could see in my group, in my VIP group that commented. And the one thing that I did a lot in all of those messages was state my goal. I am trying to earn a trip to Hemingway. I'd be the 4th Newfoundlander to ever earn this trip, etc. I broke it down for them. So if someone is trying to step up to manager, star manager, executive manager, maybe you're trying to get a goal from Tupperware, maybe you're trying to get your pots and pans or a level from your confidence star. Doesn't matter what the goal is, but let them know what you're trying to do. You don't have to tell them. You can tell them if you want. It's totally up to you. And that's what I did for my Hemingway trip. I said, hey, Emily, just looking to see if you're interested in earning some free Tupperware. It's quick and easy. I do all the work. You just need to add your friends and family and just interact with them. I'm trying to hit a goal, and I told them the goal. I'm trying to earn a trip to South Carolina. I didn't say Hemingway because no one knows what that is. I'm trying to earn a trip to South Carolina. I only have till Friday. This was Sunday. I only have till Friday. Would you be interested in hosting an online party for me? And everybody that I wrote said yes. They're not going to turn around and say, no, I can't help you unless something drastic in their life. But no, they all turned around. And I think at one point it was like, okay, I have to stop messaging, because if everyone turns around and says yes, then I might have 20 parties. So that's my one part of thing that I do for looking for parties, sending private messages and telling them your goal. And again, like some people say, you kind of hit a dry spell of who to message, but you always have new customers coming in too. So have a look at who your new customers are on your group, and who's commenting, who's commenting and liking things. And the other thing that I've started doing just this year is, and every time I send a message, I just want to throw up. I should just have a bucket next to me. But every customer that places an order during a party, when I send them their total, I give them their total. And then at the end of it, I said, would you be interested in hosting your own online party? And it is got like a stomach feeling, sick feeling to do this, but it's amazing how many people are like, sure, I'll give it a try. They don't have anything to lose. It doesn't cost money for them to do a party. So I've started asking every customer that, or anybody that I've interacted with during the party, I'll ask them, would you be interested in hosting your own online party? If they come back and say, not right now, but maybe in the middle of the summer, well, right next to their name on their customer order, I'm writing midsummer, contact them back. And now I got to be more organized and go in and see who actually said midsummer, because I realize that's next month. But that's my tip.
That's a really, really great tip too, for sure. And I remember when you earned that, that was fantastic. Amazing. Did everybody answer that question? Stephanie, where did you go? Yeah. No. Do you have anything to say? No? Okay. I don't want to put anyone in the spot, but I don't want dead air. So, all right. All right. I'm just going to follow up a little bit with really quick to with what Stephanie was saying. Hold on a sec here. So when she had mentioned about go through your groups and ask everybody, really do that. For example, I just promoted Heather Lang last month, and she just promoted up to director. And she actually had been one of the guests in one of my very first parties that I ran for somebody within like the first 3 months of me being a consultant. So she joined my VIP group, my customer group, because I usually post, hey, when 5 people join my group, I'll draw for another prize. I make it into a prize. And like Cindy said, always post your link so you can start to build your customer base in your group. So Heather Lang actually joined that way to enter into one of the games that I did to join my group. Fast forward a year or more, and she needed some Tupperware. She needed something replaced, warranted, and she contacted me. She had never purchased anything from me. I didn't even know she was still there. So she messaged me. She's like, hey, I'm in your group and blah, blah, blah. And then now look. So she had just been sitting there silent. And, you know, it's a really good testament to always kind of take stock of who's actually in your VIP group, because you could have a hidden hiding in there. I had Heather Lang hiding there the whole time. And then she brought in Heather Atkinson. And then, you know, now we've all promoted. So definitely take stock of that. That is really excellent advice that everyone gave about how you reach out to people. That's perfect. All right, so let's move on to the next question here. And this one should be probably pretty, I think it might be straight across the board. What training in TOTL has had the biggest impact on your business and why?
I want to go first on this because I think that something that's not necessarily biggest impact on my business, but the biggest impact on a lot of people when they first join is our Sunday cooking webinars, because people don't know what to do with the items in their kit. And I know what you think other people are going to answer, and that's not necessarily my answer. I actually love all of the training and the resource that we have access to, that we have so many different recorded calls. We have a recorded calls album, and so much incredible information, not only from our own company, but also from other companies that Cora has partnered with. We're the only Canadian company in this, they call it the Filthy Stinkin' Rich Club. So FSRC, and Cora was invited to be a part of that. And these are other business leaders that hold the same values as Cora and that do their training and their encouragement and work their business the same way that Cora does. And I think that that is incredibly valuable because we have access to not only our own resources, but other people's resources in that. So there are a lot of recorded trainings that are from other FSRC business leaders and directors as well. So I just kind of wanted to push that before everybody does what other people are going to post. Those are things that I think are really valuable, especially for brand new team members, is our cooking webinars. The evening one has the kit issue, which is all about the kit and what the different items are, which we've just switched up our kit. So we have been doing that a lot in the last, I'm going to say probably, it's probably been a year now since things have been changing very frequently. All of our webinars are so incredibly valuable because they use a lot of different products. And I think that's a really important thing, is to train people on how to use the products that they have and how to teach them how to share that information with others. So that's my training. It hasn't necessarily impacted my business the most, but I think it will impact the most businesses of other people, especially when they're brand new.
Heather, I have to second you because I know everyone's going to say Crystal Tozak's Facebook training. I am not saying that. I am saying, like you, it is the webinars. There is no doubt that the webinars have changed my business in the last 6 months. I've really pushed my team to get on, if not every week to watch. Every week someone is demoing or I am hosting. There's no doubt in my mind that's the reason 2 of my directors stepped up this month, or last month actually, is because they have been joining the webinars, watching and demoing every other week. One of them is on there doing something, and then the other week I'm usually hosting, so the team gets on. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's the reason that they're stepping up, because their team is getting on and watching it. They're getting more comfortable, which means they're doing lives in their own pages all the time. They're doing lives in their VIP groups. They're doing live in their parties. And that's because they're doing the webinars. It's not because of any fantastic training or a miracle that's put things together. I forced, and I did, I bribed them. I'm not ashamed of that. I totally bribed them to get on and start doing them. And I mean, you guys have seen Frank, when he first started, he didn't say a word, he demoed and that was it. He didn't talk, he didn't nothing. And then he got more and more comfortable, and now he does them all the time and does them in his parties. Nikki is the same way. Most of her 1 hour parties are a 1 hour live. And the reason they do it is because they got comfortable. I forced them to get comfortable, but I knew that that would take their business to the next level. And there's no doubt in my mind that it did. We have, like you said, we have amazing tons of training available at our fingertips, but you have to find what works best with your team. Some people are doing the bingos, some people are doing the Facebook parties, people are doing the Zooms, people are doing cooking parties. Every different team will have different people that you need to horn in on whatever training they need to do. And I knew for my team, the webinars was going to be the winning thing, and it's definitely the reason why we've grown so much.
For me, it was definitely Crystal Tozak's training. It was really when I started in February. That's what everybody was raving about, is watch the videos. And I think I've watched it probably 5 times. And every time I watch it, I add something different that I didn't catch the first 4 or 5 times. So if you haven't watched it, do watch it. Do print out everything. Really take the time to understand the process and to do the follow-ups, because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I would have to follow up that, Stephanie, and say that's, you know, what really changed my business too. My first party after I watched Crystal's training and started following, you know, all of her steps, my sales went from probably an average of $400 to $1,200. I had 3 bookings and 2 recruits or something like that out of the first party that I did after, you know, and before that, my team was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 people. And now, you know, 4 months later, I'm at 75 people. So the asking, always ask every question. You know, do you want to add anything to your order? Do you want to host a party? Do you want to buy a kit? It's surprising how many people say yes. And that's what's made a big difference. Right now for my team, I have put a lot of the links from some of the basic training in TOTL on my team page. And that has helped my new people to not, you know, feel like they're constantly asking questions, because some of them, you know, they don't like to have to constantly ask, how do you enter an order? How do you order a sample? All that kind of stuff. So I tell them all right from the beginning that it's all on TOTL, but it's kind of intimidating because there's so much on there. So I've just put some of the basic stuff on my team page, and they can find it there much easier because there's not anywhere near the volume of posts on there. And that seems to really have helped them a lot as well, just with getting started. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I agree with what everybody said, actually, because I've always been on a lot of the webinars, and I've been on, you know, I've watched Crystal's training, and, you know, you're all bang on. It's invaluable. So I don't think I can really add anything more than what everyone has already said. And just take advantage of the training that's out there, the virtual training, all of it. It's you can't. And when we can finally get back together come to Spring Fling, come to all of those things, because especially if you're new, oh my gosh, when it gets going, and I see Paula down there, when we get going again, like it is a party. Like when we say we party all the time, like they're seriously not kidding. So just when we can finally get together, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I get excited just thinking about it. All right. So the next question, setting a goal, how do you know when it is the right goal for you?
When it makes you sick to your stomach. Really. When you think, oh my goodness, that just gives me butterflies, or it just makes me want to be sick, that's the right goal for you. Trust me. It pushes you a little bit further. It also, when you meet that goal, it is so self-rewarding too. You know, putting a goal in, well, I'm going to have one party this month, and, you know, I'm going to have 600 in personal sales. That is not something that puts a pit in your stomach. You know, try doing one party a week. You know, and I'm going to help my new recruits each do their own first launch party. You know, so you've got 10 new recruits this month. So you're going to do 10 launch parties to help your new people get started. You're going to do one party a week, but let's bump it up a little bit because you're going to book parties off of that. So you need to have a goal that actually you can feel that in your stomach going, oh, this scares me. Be hard. No, I'm not saying be hard on yourself, but just have those butterflies floating around in your stomach, like in that pit of your stomach. And that's what's going to be a true goal.
I think for me, one of the biggest things is the first day of every single month, I do a goal challenge for my team. So I know Cora does them as well in TOTL as one of the challenges, or in leadership, she does it. But I post my goals and I get my team to post their goals so that I know what they're aiming for the month, so that I know how to work with them. But I always have 3 goals. I have a goal in my head that I know we can achieve because I'm still a realist. I'm an accountant and it all has to make sense. And if I look at the numbers and go, that's not going to happen, to me, it's not real. So I have a goal in my head. I have a goal that I post with my team, which is usually tougher than the goal in my head, but not the oh shit goal. It's the in-between goal. And then I have the, oh my God, if we were to do this, I would like literally crap my pants goal. Because you need 3, yeah, sorry. I know y'all are laughing, but it's okay. I need 3. I need to have 1 because I don't want to be disappointed. Like most people, we all have things that we strive for. I don't want to be disappointed. So if we make goal number 1, I'm still a happy camper. If we make goal number 2, I'm happy, the team's happy, and we did better than expected. And when we make goal number 3, like last month, I swear to God, every other day I had to push the goal because we were hitting goals like crazy. It started off with, let's just eat last month. So 2 months ago, we did 60,000, which had been double what we normally do. So I'm like, let's just beat that. And then it was like, okay, let's be crazy and let's say 100,000 and 100 recruits, just cause. And we ended up finishing the month at just shy of 155,000 and 120 recruits. So every week I was pushing the goal and I was like, oh my God, let's just go big or go home now, because like, you know, we were hitting so many things. So that was part of the challenge, right? But I personally always like to have 3. It's like the backup to the backup to the backup, right? Because then as you get going, you can push them even harder because we're so close to that like realistic goal. And then you're so close to the, you know, yeah, this is a little bit scary goal. And then you're really close to that crap goal. So I find that works for me and my team really well. I have a lot of competitive people on my team. They like to be pushed. They like me pushing them. Whereas I'm more of a laid back kind of, I'm like, if we do it, but they definitely like to be challenged. So for us, that's what works. But knowing your team is going to be your best benefit, knowing them, how they operate, how they work, what motivates them. and it'll help you set your goals every month, whether your goals should be completely unrealistic. And if you're okay with that, then that's okay. And if, you know, if you need to have like concrete stuff written down, and write them down. Once you post them, it's real. If you just talk about them and you say them, it's something else. But I find having people write it out and actually look back on it, and we look at them at the end of the month and go, okay, so who did what? You know, how close were we? What could we have done differently? It gives them new things to strive for this month. And sometimes it's going to be the same goal for 3 months because they still didn't get there. And okay, what do we need to change up to get you there? But I find it gives them something to work on as well. Because once they join, once Confidence Start is done, once Manager Growth Program is done, there's nothing left for them to keep going. And this, I find, gives them that little bit of, you know, like challenge to keep going, right? Because we all need to keep pushing everybody. And I find for us, that's worked really well.
I'm kind of like Tasha, that I'm not an accountant, but I love numbers and I love math and I love breaking things down. And I'm not always good at sharing that with my team. But I think that's something that is important to, for making your own goals or for sharing with your team, even if you've just recently stepped up to manager, or if your goal is to step up to manager, that breaking down those bigger goals into smaller bite-sized pieces is really important. The right goal for you, like was said before, is something that gives you butterflies in your stomach or makes you sick to your stomach, that is your, oh my goodness, I could never do this, but if I did, wow goal. But if you've got that goal, if somebody has a goal of making $1,000 a month, how would you break that down? Because that seems really hard to accomplish, especially when you're brand new. Or even like Tasha said before, if you've got kids who are in hockey and if your goal is to pay for your kids' activities. If I think somebody had said, what if your goal is $100 a month to pay for your kids' gymnastics? How would you achieve that? So, I mean, that's actually a pretty easy one to break down, because a $600 party and 25% of that would be $150. So if you have one party a month, then you can have that extra $150 to spend on your kids' gymnastics. But what if you've got something that's more expensive, like hockey equipment, that you need to break that down into, okay, well, I need $400 a month, which is $100 a week. So I need to be doing a party a month. So it's breaking that down into smaller pieces. And if you stepped up to manager, it would be talking to your team members and finding out what their goals are. They might be discount shoppers, and that is perfectly okay. I joined as a discount shopper. Many of us, probably 90% of us, except for maybe Emily and Stephanie Best, joined as discount shoppers. There's very few of our 15,000 top of the line team members who joined up to make money. It's a very small percentage. But if you look at your discount shoppers and you say like, hey, what's your goal? And they're like, oh, I don't have a goal. I just want to shop at a discount. Like, great, we've got samples and these are our samples this month. And you might expect that your discount shoppers are going to want to maybe order $100 worth of samples in a month. And that's okay, because that's why I joined. But if you've got 3 discount shoppers, you've got 3 people who've put in their $100 orders of samples. And let's say you're doing one party a month. So that helps. But if instead of 3 discount shoppers on your team, what if you had 6 discount shoppers? Or what if you had 10 discount shoppers and one person who wants to do the business? So it's looking at all those little pieces and details. And then, like Tasha said, you've got those goals that are, yeah, I think we could do this goals, or I think I could do this goals. But then what are your bigger goals that you want to share with people? The ones that make you a little bit queasy in your stomach. And then what are your huge goals and your dreams? And how do you break those down into smaller pieces so that you're like, okay, my goal is like, I think it was Stephanie who said, I want to be a manager by the end of 2019. So how do you accomplish that? And how do you set your goals to achieve your dreams? So I think that's the important part of those goals, is being realistic and setting them up as we say they're called SMART goals. So they're specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and timely. I think those are the ones, but you can Google SMART goals and it will come up with that. So I think that's the important part, is kind of looking at those details and trying to figure out how you can achieve those little goals or those bigger goals that you set for yourself and that you set for your team.
What Heather said. Nothing really to add, but exactly what Heather said was in my head. And I think I did my new director panel is all about goals. And it basically touched on like just small, I don't even remember what it touched on. It was a couple months ago. But yeah, whatever makes you stomach sick. And again, like for me with Hemingway, when I woke up Sunday, $3,600 in 6 days, that was stomach sickening. And when I said, no, I'm doing this, I wanted the free trip and I wanted to go to Hemingway and see where the Tupperware was manufactured. I put it in my head and I earned it. I think I needed 3,600. I ended up getting 3,900. And even at the beginning of this year, I set a goal. I mean, I have different goals. I have goals for my team. I have personal goals. But I know one goal that I set at the beginning of the year was the Bahamas trip the Bahamas trip for Star Director. And I said, I'm going to earn that by the end of this year. And it's a crazy goal. But now I'm a little over $100,000 away from it and it's becoming real. So you need to really get a goal that's stomach sickening for you. I do the same thing. I think Tasha said is she does it on her group every month. And I do the same thing, is what's everybody's goals. And I want to see, because someone's goal could just be go live this month. And for them, that's stomach sickening. So I'll work with them to get them to go live. But yeah, what Heather and everybody else said.
Absolutely. It has to make you feel a bit nauseous, for sure. I know, like with just stepping up to Star Director, now I'm eligible for that Bahamas trip that Stephanie had mentioned. And I was thinking, it's so far off, but I'm almost, I'm getting close to halfway there, and it's halfway through the year. So, it literally makes my hands clammy and makes me like a little nervous, but I'm gonna try. I'm going for it. So fingers crossed. I'm also very realistic. I kind of take the whole, I like what Tasha said about set the realistic goal, and then the one that's just a little bit further, and then the one that's like the holy shit, like if we get there, this is just blew the roof off the house. Totally get it. And of course, they're all very individual things as well. So as Heather had said, talk to your team, and Stephanie had said, talk to your team and find out what they're hoping to achieve, so you know how to help them, because that's what we're here to do, is to help the team as well. All right. Would anybody else like to comment on that question? Did we get everybody? We're running a little over in the time, so, but I don't want to miss anybody. All right. So I think we're just going to do the wrap up, because there's been so much amazing information already. So the wrap up is just one piece of advice that you can offer to your team, to people on other teams. One piece of advice that you as a director in the position that you're in now, and where your team has, what you've achieved, what advice can you offer to new recruits coming in, and maybe people that have been around for a bit and feel a little frustrated that they might have hit a wall? Because I find at some point a lot of us tend to hit that wall and then need a little bit of encouragement, and that encouragement can look very different for different people. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to people on our team?
My advice would be to, when you're feeling a little down, or you just feel like you're hitting a brick, reach out to your director or somebody else that you can talk to. They're always there to give you a hand. They may not know that you're struggling with something, because once you become a director, your team is so huge, Sometimes you don't even know who some of the people are that are on your team. My biggest piece of advice to anybody is never, never, never quit.
I guess for me, my advice would be to believe that, you know, you can do this. Believe that the tools that we have available to us will help you work your business. Believe that your team is there to help you work your business, and just believe that you can do it.
For me, it's don't be afraid to turn your best customer or hostess into your next team member, because that next, for me, for example, I turned one of my, and I used to be afraid of like flipping your host and all that stuff. Or if you take, if your customer signs up and they're now a team member, then you're not getting your personal sales. But that next hostess or customer can be your next manager, it can be your next director. So don't be afraid.
I think one of my biggest pieces of advice is ask for help, even when you don't think you need it. And I'm getting the evil look over here from Nikki, because that was a hard thing for me. I am an absolute control freak, as most of you that know me know that already. I'm an absolute control freak. I don't like asking anybody for anything. I figure if I'm going to have to explain how to do it, I might as well just do it myself. And that's like in my house, in my home, with my kids, in my day job. That's how I work. But when I was trying to earn the car in August, I had no choice but to ask for help, because we were so close, but we weren't there. We had 2 weeks left to go, and I think we had 12 or 13,000 to go. And it was like, for me, it was like pulling teeth. I didn't want to ask. I knew I had to ask. And to this day, I won't full out admit that I asked. I just made Nikki ask instead. But I didn't want to do it. I figured if I couldn't do it on my own, then it wasn't going to happen, and I just wasn't going to get it. And that was okay. I was not okay with it, but I had to be okay. And she heard my crooked ask for help, and she gathered up our entire team and got everyone pushing and selling and doing everything she could, offering up everything under the sun to get us to do it. And it was like the 11th hour. And I mean, we did it. And it was a huge feat, because, you know, we were only a team of 30 then, and to do $12,000 or $13,000 in less than 2 weeks was huge with that many people. But we did it. So no matter what level you are at your business, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not have all the answers and not know everything, but just ask, because there's people out there that will help, not even necessarily on your team, people on top of the line, other directors. I help other directors, team members all the time. And it's not because I'm, you know, this, that, or the other. It's because some people have different connections. Some people are on the morning webinars with me all the time, so they're more comfortable asking because they see me every darn Sunday. Some people know that I'm the bingo lady, so they'll come and ask all the bingo questions because they know that's what I do. So it doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't always have to be your upline. Absolutely go to them first, but make friends with other people that you see regularly, that post regularly, and ask them, share stuff in between them, because maybe something that's working for them can work for you, maybe not. But if nothing else, you're going through this process with people. Like us as directors, as you step up and you do more events together, you get to know each other, you know, you reach out on a more frequent basis, and all of those things help. So make your connections, but don't be afraid to ask. It doesn't matter who it is, ask somebody. Rather than quit or rather than give up, ask somebody, because someone will help you out.
Absolutely. That is great advice. And what I find on TOTL, because we have such a supportive network, we've got the top tips that the directors post a lot and whatnot. And these things are really important for people to see, because these are advice that we are handing out. And when people take that advice, it usually does help. And of course, I get a lot of it as well when I'm reading all the tips from people that are, you know, try this, try that. You know, it helps my business as well, for sure. Stephanie, Stephanie McGoran?
The only tip that I have really is just start. Don't stress about it. Don't worry too much. Just honestly, just start. It'll be the best possible thing you can do.
Stephanie, I love that you said that. Something that Tupperware says, that Charles Smith said, that so many other people say, one of Tupperware's mottos is think big, start small, but begin now. So that's having those huge goals, those ones that really make you sick to your stomach, but breaking it down into small pieces, ones that you can do right now, and just do it. Like just take that step, send that message, press that go live on Facebook button, and just do it. You don't have to save the live. It might only be 1 or 2 people who actually see you go live. And if you are sick to your stomach about that, don't save it and post it for later. Just try it again a different time. So only one person has seen you go live. But next time you do it, you will feel more comfortable about it. Stephanie, I have gone live before. A few times. I've done Zoom webinars before. It's just not my favorite thing to do, but I definitely do still push myself to do that. My other piece of advice is to make those connections with people, whether it be your customers, the guests in a party, your hosts, or your team members, or other directors or managers or anybody else in TOTL. If you see somebody doing something that you love, screenshot what you love, click on their name, send a message, and tell them that you think that you love this idea. Ask if you can share it, or ask if they've got any tips on something you can do. Making those connections, it's just making those connections and building those relationships. And that brings us back to like the very first, like, why did we stay? For a lot of us, we stayed because of the people. So build those relationships and make those connections, and whether it be with other team members or your customers or your hosts or friends that you might want to join your team, those connections are super important. So that's my piece of advice.
That's excellent advice. Excellent. My advice is to continue to check in on yourself, because we're checking in with each other, but it's really important as well to keep checking in on yourself. The reason you joined a year ago might not be the reason you're staying now. Things change. It can be very fluid. Tupperware can present opportunities that open up other doors for you, and you decide that, okay, maybe I don't just want to be a manager, maybe I want to be a director. So your goals can increase. Just life happens. Look, COVID happened, and I think everybody's life changed in May. So my advice would be continue to check in with yourself, continue to have a narrative to reestablish what is my why am I getting up and working my Tupperware business today, why is this important to me, and why am I going to keep going? Because that will be reflected in your actions. It'll be reflected in how much time you're going to put into it. As Stephanie had already said, Cora had said, if you treat it like a business, then it will be a business. If you treat it like a hobby, then it's going to be a hobby. So it's really important to set your focus and to, once again, check in with yourself and decide what you want to do, because this is not a mandatory business. This is not a mandatory job that you have to get up and go to. You're making that choice to get up in the morning and to work your Tupperware business. So you're making the choice that's going to determine your paycheck, and it's going to determine the trips you're going to go on, and it's going to determine the people that you ask to join your team and how many parties you're going to run. You make that choice. And I think it's really important that we all remember at the end of the day, this is your business, and you have a huge support network to help you, but it has to be something that you want to do. That would be my best advice. So if that is all the questions we're going to do for tonight. I'm going to stop the recording in just a minute, unless any of our panel would like to add something else before I stop the recording? I think it was really fantastic, all the answers that we had tonight. No? Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We can stay on for a few minutes after, so I'm just going to stop the recording now. So I do thank everybody for anybody who watches the replay of this, because I think this was a really fantastic webinar. All right, I'm just going to stop this now.